Greetings and salutations to every single one of you, beautiful, wonderful, fluffy, not fluffy, and just as lovely listeners. This is your favorite Kitty Fox coming for another podcast episode. This one is a bit late, and that is because of a few things which I'll get into. Hope you all are having a great week. Hope you all had a wonderful holiday weekend to those of you who celebrate Thanksgiving. It has been a busy time for me and mine and those around. I have to say, I'm very pleased with how this whole weekend turned out. And I am super excited for how this coming week and weekend is going to end up. So, here we go. Well, as mentioned, Thanksgiving, it was quite a time. I had Thursday and Friday off last week, which was beautiful thanks to my work. And I know a lot of people had to work on Black Friday, which if you did, my heart goes out to you. Oh my gosh, what a day to have to, be in retail or any other position. I certainly commend you for your dedication and your hard work and everything that you put into it. I have an appreciation for those who work retail, especially because I used to work retail, and that was quite a, that was quite, I don't know. I'm of the camp of thinkers who believe that you should work retail at least once, especially in this country. Like if you're going to work, you're starting out working, you're starting out your career or whatever the case may be, that you should work retail at least one time for one job, because it brings you not only to a whole new appreciation for what happens behind the scenes at companies and establishments, but it also teaches patience, and it teaches the everything that goes into it, and all the long hours and all the frustrations, and you think differently after you've had a job like that. That is my take on it. Next time you're online somewhere, either Black Friday or not, and you're waiting to get something, or you put in an order and you're trying to fulfill that, or you are just a shopper, whatever the case may be, it really it brings a new perspective to what those people go through every single day. So if you do work retail, I definitely have a soft spot for you. And to those of you who worked retail over this weekend and continue to do leading up to the Christmas season, props to you, because I don't miss it. I worked in that field for about a year and a half, and I don't regret it. It was definitely a teachable and learnable experience that I will never forget. So I did go to a mall on Black Friday, which I will get to the whole story about it, but it started off Thursday. I slept in because that was a nice little thing that I got to do. It was nice to just be able to catch up on sleep and wake up around 10. That's my normal time to wake up on days off, is 10 o'clock or so. And I got dressed, I got in my little fancy outfit, and I got picked up by my mom and dad, who were gracious enough to come and get me at my place. And we went off to a very nice restaurant, which was, it's actually like it's set inside of a country club. And as bougie as that sounds, very expensive. I don't recommend it if you can't afford it. But, the meal was free for me, so I can't complain. My parents were very gracious to have funded the whole thing for myself, my both of them, my great aunt, my uncle. We were all there just enjoying each other's company. And there was a Thanksgiving buffet. They had, oh gosh, they had all the fixins. They had turkey, they had prime rib, they had ham, they actually had macaroni and cheese, if you can believe it. It was like a casserole mac and cheese, which, oh my gosh, that was so good. Mashed potatoes, green bean casserole, everything. It was so good. I ended up eating like 2 whole plates of Thanksgiving dinner and plus a dessert. I was a hungry boy that day. I did not do anything the rest of the day, because after I got home, I basically splayed out on the couch because I was so full, and it was to the point where I started to feel sick. Like I was so full to feeling sick almost. I realized I can't eat the way I used to, which is kind of sad, but age will do that to you, you know. I laid out on the couch at around 5 p.m. and I didn't wake up until 1 in the morning, if that tells you anything. I was the definition of food comatose, and I haven't had that for quite a while. So, yeah, laid down, fell asleep, woke up at 1 a.m., and I was like, holy crap, what day is it? I have no idea. Because by the time I was awake, it was dark, and I thought I had slept for like 2 days. It felt so just like just the amount of I couldn't believe the amount of calories I had taken in. Which reminds me, it was actually it was this was done as a study a few times via MythBusters and other scientific outlets. It was not. You may have heard of the chemical in Thanksgiving foods called tryptophan. Tryptophan is a chemical that is released in your brain when you eat a large amount of calories. So it's not tryptophan that is the sole proprietor or the sole purpose to your food coma. It is actually tryptophan from the calories, right? It's the amount of calories that you eat that causes you to fall asleep. Which, if you're interested, check out that Mythbusters episode. It was a really good insight to what exactly is going on in your brain when you eat a large amount of calories. And they use Thanksgiving as an example because that is one of the holidays that most people eat a lot. So that was definitely the case for me. I was dead to the world. But honestly, one of the best sleeps I've had in a long time. Like, I didn't have any dreams, no nightmares, no nothing like that. It was just lay down, fall asleep, and then wake back up, and it was 1 in the morning. So I do want to mention one of the things that we got to do before heading to dinner is we went to, because the area we were in is where my grandparents used to live, my dad's parents, that is. And one of the beautiful things we got to do before going to dinner was we got to stop at their gravesite and pay our respects. So those of you who don't know, my grandmother passed away around this time 2 years ago. So back in 2022, she had a whole bunch of health issues. She had dementia. She had hip problems. She had muscle issues, and it was actually a hip surgery that she ended up having to get. That is what did her in. She just never fully recovered from it, and one day they found her, and she never woke up. So that was the unfortunate part, and I still miss her to this day. Like, I still have her flowers, displayed on my counter because that is something that I'll never forget, But she was in her burial plot next to my grandfather, and what was really cool was they had a little plaque for my grandfather who, for his military service. He was a staff sergeant in the Korean War. He was an engineer, actually. He fixed planes and he did all the maintenance on planes. And, even though he was never in combat necessarily, he still was a huge contributor to the war and the war efforts. And he got honorable discharge, I believe in 1959 or 1960, somewhere around there. And he's been one of the best examples of military in my family since I can remember. I remember, as a matter of fact, being a little kid, like little tiny little guy, just running around, playing Mario and stuff. And one of the prime examples that I remember of my grandfather was him sitting me down, like sitting me in a chair, and he would get his medals out, and he would show me his medals, his patches, all the little trinkets that he got from the military. And to those of you who are wondering, he was a U.S. Army. That was his branch of military. And I remember him doing that a few times in my childhood, just pulling me aside and just being like, "Hey, come here, have a seat. I want to show you something." And he would get out his medals and he would show me. He had a Purple Heart from an injury. He had he had his sergeant patches. He had some medals, some miscellaneous medals, which I can't remember because most of them went to his stepson, I believe, or his son, and I I never got to see those in the will. I did get a few things from him, like I got a couple patches from him, and that was really cool that my step uncle got to give that to me when he passed. But yeah, just going to see them on Thanksgiving, pay our respects, and it's a beautiful plot. Like their headstone is an interesting shape. It's in sort of a shape of a heart, which I kind of like, and um, it was honestly really, it was really, I don't want to say existential, but it was so weird seeing like my grandpa's plot, who had been there for over 10 years, and then my grandma next to him, and you could still see the fresh dirt that has been placed there, and it's been 2 years, but like all the grass isn't fully grown in, and it's not quite, uniform to the rest of the plot. But yeah, I looked at that patch of grass that was not fully complete, and I just started thinking, wow, it really wasn't that long ago. So, shout out to my grandfather for serving and for being one of the greatest examples I ever had in life, and my grandmother who fought to the end to, keep everything that she had, and, fought to the ripe old age of 87, 88, I believe, is when she passed. And, the end may have been rough, but it didn't matter. She was still grandma. Like she may have had dementia, but she still remembered me, my brother, and my sister-in-law. Like when we went to see her one last time, it was around, it was like the second week of November, 2022. We went to see her in her recovery room, and we walked in, and she was there, and she remembered all of us. So, and then 2 weeks later, she was gone. So I am thankful that we got to see her one last time, and we got to talk to her, and she remembered us. So, but that was the highlight of Thanksgiving for me, was getting to go up there and getting to, see her and my grandfather and their plot, and they will never be forgotten. Thanksgiving will not be the same without either of them. So, that aside, one of the other things that I did was I woke up around 1, like I said, and then I woke up. Then I basically, I meant to go to Indiana for a Friendsgiving. And, oh, hold on one second. All right, I'm back. Sorry about that. I had a little visitor come and say a little send-off for the upcoming convention, which is Midwest FurFest. Yes, I will be going to Midwest FurFest this weekend for 4 or 5 days. So today's Tuesday, so I'll be leaving tomorrow night, Wednesday night, to head up to Rosemont, Illinois, and I'll be there from Wednesday night to Monday afternoon. So if any of you are out there listening and you want to listen to a KittyFox speak into your ear in person, I can do that. But yeah, if you see me, feel free to come up and say hi. Ask for hugs, pictures, whatever you like. I would love to meet you. It would be a wonderful honor to be able to get to see you and meet you. But yeah, that the friend who stopped by was just giving me a little proper send-off, just saying, hey, how's it going, and hope you're safe, and brought some stuff, which was really, really kind of them. They didn't have to do that, but they wanted to make sure that I had a fun time. So I actually have this giant Uno deck that they they lent me because it's perfect for fursuiting. Like, it is the perfect, like it's like the size of a dictionary. These cards are huge, and when you're in fursuit, you can't hold cards that well. Okay, so these giant cards are perfect for fursuiting. So I'm going to be using that this con, and it's going to be a good time. So shout out to Friendo, who came over and said hi. So anyway, back to what I was saying earlier. What was I saying earlier? Oh yeah, Friendsgiving. So I went out to Indiana neighboring state to Ohio, to visit some friends, and we had a little Thanksgiving there, which was really nice. And we got to play Elden Ring. We got to hang out, have a few drinks, and just enjoy a nice, quiet Black Friday and Saturday afternoon. As I mentioned before, I went to a mall on Black Friday, which was not very smart. We ended up spending the better part of 30 minutes to like 45 minutes trying to find parking alone. So, yes, I was one of those people who was tagging along for Black Friday, and sure enough, it's exactly what we expected. I don't know what we expected any less, but it was not fun. Thankfully, we were able to do our Black Friday shopping and got what we needed, so that's the most important thing. But I can't remember the last time I had been to a mall and it was that crowded. Like, we were shoulder to shoulder with people, just trying to walk through the mall alone. My gosh, it was so busy. I was actually mentioning this to one of the friends that I was visiting. I was thinking one of my favorite pastimes as of late is watching abandoned place videos, which okay, in with respect, I have been urban exploring before. I wouldn't call myself an urban explorer in the traditional sense, but I have done urbex before, and I have an appreciation for abandoned places and exploration in general. And I've never been to an abandoned mall, or like a dead mall as it's called, yet, but I would like to sometime. But it was really nice to be able to see this mall just up and jumping and just functional, because there's a lot of videos on the internet of people just going to malls across America, and either they're on the verge of closing or they have closed and they're just going in to explore it. Wow. Like, it is, talk about liminal spaces in person. My gosh, that malls are one of those places that you cannot compare. Like, you're so used to seeing malls in their heyday, and how they were functioning back in the day. And to see them just empty and barren and useless, it does something to you. Like, it's a cool feeling, but it's also like an eerie kind of off-putting feeling, if that makes sense. So, yeah, that's something I won't forget. And, yeah, as I mentioned, we played some video games, got some snugs in, which was really nice, so can't complain. And then I drove home on Saturday in the afternoon and immediately went to another friend's house for another Friendsgiving. So, man, what a day. That day was just full of driving, eating, and sleeping. Like, most of the day was pretty enjoyable. But yeah, that was a long drive. But yeah, we got to, at that friend's house that I drove back home for, we got to watch Fantastic Mr. Fox, which was a wonderful tradition that they have. Great movie if you've never seen it, but I highly recommend watching that movie if you've never seen it. It's a very holiday-esque kind of movie, even though it's not set during like any particular holiday, let alone Thanksgiving. But it is set during like the fall season, which was perfect. So, yeah, Fantastic Mr. Fox. Wes Crowley, I think, is who made or directed it. Yeah, I want to say it's Crowley is his last name. It's like a stop motion kind of a movie. If you've never seen it, it's the main character is voiced by George Clooney, which is you know, whatever you think of him. Honestly, he does a great job as Mr. Fox. Beautiful. There's some voice actors out there. They just fit the role, if you know what I'm saying. Like, there is no replacing them, and you can't think of anyone else who could do the voice for this character. In the same way of like Nick Wilde, like I cannot think of any other voice actor to do Nick Wilde. There's just no comparison, right? Speaking of that, Zootopia 2 is coming out soon, and I'm a little nervous. I'm not gonna lie, I'm a little nervous of how that's gonna work out, because we know how sequels go a lot of the time, and I'm hoping this is the case of like the sequel is better than the original, kind of like Puss in Boots or The Rescuers. The sequel in those two movie series, like, were better than the originals in my opinion. So, But after that, at this friend's house, we watched a movie called Hundreds of Beavers. Anybody out there ever heard of that movie? It's one of those like intentionally bad movies that's meant to be bad and meant to be like comical. It's not. I wouldn't really put it in the category of like Sharknado or like Velocipaster, but it's one of those that it knows that it's a joke and it is playing up that joke the entirety of the movie. Like, I can't really go into it because spoilers. Like, well, I can spoil some things. One thing is that there is zero dialogue in the entire movie. Yeah, that'll make more sense when you watch the movie. But it takes the epitome of slapstick in a modern movie and it makes it into something beautiful. And then it also takes, as the title says, beavers, people in beaver costumes the entire time. And that's all I'm going to say. Like, if you like people in beaver costumes, furries, and if you enjoy slapstick and just ridiculous humor, that honestly, the only direction for it to go is nothing but the most ridiculous, then you're going to enjoy this movie. You can watch it on Prime. You can probably watch it on YouTube. It's on, like, other services like Tubi and that. But, hey, it's worth a watch, in my opinion. I highly recommend it. To give you perspective, I probably have not laughed that hard at a movie in a long time. So, yeah, Hundreds of Beavers. If you're interested, let me know. Let me know what you think. So yeah, that was Saturday, and I got home pretty late. Ended up sleeping, going to sleep at a decent time, and then waking up. Went to Sunday service, and which was really wholesome. And then I did a live stream. I did a Twitch stream on Sunday. It's kind of like a go-between stream because I'm not going to be able to stream this week because of MFF, which I should talk about. Like I said, I'll be at MFF this week, and it has been something to get preparation for this con because not only is it a 6-hour drive from where I am, but it's also a very long weekend. So, yeah. Basically, what had happened was yesterday I had to go pick up some stuff, and I had to drop some things off. So after work, I left work kind of early yesterday, and I had to go to my parents' house because I had to take Archie, Kitty, to for babysitting. My parents have been gracious so often. Like every time I go to a con, they're just willing to watch him, which I'm so grateful for. Yeah, I like honestly the fact that they love him and that they care about him and they watch him while I'm gone is just it means the world. So shout out to mom and dad for being so gracious in that. But so not only did I have to take him to be taken care of, basically, I had to pick up some things for the con. I had to do some last minute shopping, which took longer than I wanted it to, unfortunately. And then I had to take him to my parents' house, so that was like an hour and a half of just driving alone. Just to, I had to go shopping, get that done, then pick him up from my place, and then and by the way, when it comes to traveling in the car, he does not do well. So when he knows that he's going to go in the car, he hides from me. He knows when to hide. And I don't know how he knows. I don't get it. I don't know how he is able to know or just sense that I'm there to get him to take him somewhere. um, I'm thankful because he doesn't have any accidents in the car or anything like that, but oh my gosh. I know I've mentioned this before, and this is going to be a bit TMI to those of you listening, but basically, he doesn't have any accidents, but he does flatulate, if you know what I'm saying. He lets it loose in the car, and when he's riding with me in the car, I have a leash on him. He doesn't do well with carriers. I don't really like cat carriers, to be honest, so I will put a leash on him just so I have, in case he gets away, I have something to grab onto, right? So, and of course, when he's sitting in the car, his only sense of comfort is me, so he'll sit on my lap while I'm driving, which I don't recommend. It's not the safest option when you're transporting an animal, you know? Excuse me. But, He when he's sitting on your lap and you're trying to drive the highways and the cold, and he's also passing gas while you're trying to drive. Um, Not the greatest time ever because that stuff travels upward. It goes up. Okay. Ugh. Just ugh. It's bad. And it took a couple hours for my car to air out, if you understand my meaning. Yeah. But the good news is I got him where he needed to be. Gas or not, I got him to where he needed to be. He's having the time of his life right now at my parents' house, so I'm thankful that he gets to run around and enjoy some of the hopefully not too cold, but when he runs around outside during the day, he can get some of the let out, if you know what I mean. He's just like he's been antsy lately, so he's been really really like itching to go out and run around. So hopefully he can do that, and hopefully he can come back nice and tired next week. So, but yeah, that's not all that happened yesterday. After I dropped him off at my parents' house, I had the bright idea to take one of my friend's fursuits to his house. So, for context, last Tuesday, I had a little suit cleaning party at my place. And it's because I have a green machine. And to those of you who don't know, a green machine is basically it's magic for cleaning fursuits. It's like a portable carpet cleaner, right? Essentially, and it's great for cleaning fur. Like you clean your head, clean your paws, clean your tail, all the things that you can't machine wash, right? And I had 3 people over last week, and we got to do a little suit cleaning party. We watched Has Been Hotel. We had some snacks and some pizza. It was great. Everybody got their suits clean, so hey, that's a win. But one of the friends that came over, I had to wash his bodysuit separately. Thankfully, you can machine wash that, but I had to wash that separately, and um, it was not dry yet by the time he had to leave that night. And not only that, he also got sick over the holiday weekend, so I wasn't able to drive it up to him during Thanksgiving weekend because he was not feeling well, and he wasn't able to drive down here, so I had to keep it for the time being. But I was like, oh man, I have to leave on Wednesday. I have to pack on Tuesday, so there's no way that I'm going to be able to get this to him in time. So I was just, like, you know what? Screw it. I'm going to drive this thing up to his place. I don't care what it takes. I just need to get it done. So I loaded it up. I drove from my parents' house to his place, which is about an hour north of where my parents were. But little did I know that would be a mistake. Okay. Turns out the further up you get to a lake, so the closer you get to a major lake in a state or a location, especially when it's wintertime, it tends to snow a lot more. In case you didn't know, that's how precipitation works, right? Remember back in ninth grade science? Yeah. So I'm driving along. It's like, gosh, it has to be like 11 o'clock at night by this point. But I'm like, you know what? I'm determined. I'm going to do this. I don't care what it takes. So I start driving. It's clear. Everything's okay. And then about halfway through the drive, it starts to snow. And then it snows some more. And then it snows some more. And then the snow starts coming down in a blizzard-like fashion. And I was like, oh no. Well, oh no was right, because the roads started to get very bad very quickly. Mind you, I'm on a highway going north towards a lake. Lake Erie, in case any of you are wondering. And the roads caused me, including others on the road, not only to slow down to a 25 mile per hour pace, okay, people were spun out, pulled off to the side. The cops and the snowplows in that area were closing off the roads or certain lanes because there were pileups of cars crashed. Um, And that was probably the slowest I had ever driven in a snowstorm in quite a while, right? So thankfully, the snow stops, but the roads are still bad, right? In case you didn't know, snow sticks around when it hits the ground. So the snowplows are working overtime and, passing us up and trying to get salt on the road, which thankfully they're there to do that. But there were road blockages and you had to take detours and you had to veer around them. And they were like turning people around on the highway. I don't know how they managed to do that with all the chaos going on, but it was so bad to the point where like I was shaking. My hands were 10 and 2 on the steering wheel, and I was just, like, please just let me get there. Please, please, no spin outs, no crashes. Please just help me get to this place. And after probably a good half hour of trekking in the snow, I finally get there. And thank goodness, one, that I got new tires, but two, I was able to slow down and speed up when the times were present. Like, I knew I had to get there in a timely manner because it was late at night, but also I wasn't going to risk my safety to speed up and try to speed through this whole snowbank, right? Because who knows what could have happened had I been greedy about getting there on time. Whew. But I'm thankful. I am super thankful that I was able to get there safely and get back home safely. Like, my friend, bless his heart, super just, he was so apologetic, like, so, like, he was really comforting in that moment when I showed up with his suit and I was like, here you go. And he was like, I was so concerned about you. I'm glad you made it safe. Please get home safe. And I was like, yes, absolutely. And I did. And I can't begin to tell you the amount of, well, one, the amount of adrenaline that I had driving, and then the amount of dopamine that just hit my brain when I finally pulled into my driveway. Ugh, I felt like I was going to pass out. It was so much dopamine, just like, I made it in one piece. How is this possible? Like, I like, last night I was elated. I could not, I couldn't even, like, I got to the point where I was almost restless. Like, I got to the point of restlessness even where I was like, I can't go to bed now. I'm just too energized. But I ended up passing out very, very soon after that. But hey, bottom line, we're all safe. Everyone's all right. My friend got his suit and he's ready for MFF, as am I. And no wrecks, no issues, no bruises. The car is okay. We're able to make the trek all the way up to Chicago here in about a day and a half. So I'm going to call that a huge win. So this is a little PSA for all of you. If you're driving where there is snow, please be careful. Please be mindful. If you know that the conditions are going to be bad, please weigh your options. Remember that it is not worth whatever, what, like, you have to, I wouldn't say it's not worth it, but you got to weigh your options. Like, weigh out weigh out the pros and cons of the whole thing. Like, in this case, it seems kind of dumb. Like, what I did, like, oh, it's just a fursuit. Well, yeah, but he needed it, And I did consider quite a bit, like, just turning around. But I knew if I turned around, it wouldn't really solve anything because I was already over halfway there. And going home I would still have to trek back through the snow either way. So I was like, okay, might as well just stick it out, but in a safe place, in a safe manner. So, yeah, just weigh your options. Drive safe, wear your seatbelt, all that stuff. If you need help, call for help. It is always there for you. So, that's something I'll never forget. Honestly, when you get home and you have that accomplished feeling, there's nothing like it. There is no comparison to just that victory feeling of just like, yes, I did it. So, yeah, I'll never forget that. Probably the most rewarding thing this week. Can't compare to anything else. But other than that, yeah, that's about it. That's about all that's been going on. Today at work was interesting because there was a lot of catch up to do, and I also am trying to set up my coworkers for success because one thing that I cannot stand is going on vacation or going on a trip, taking time off, and leaving people with a mess, right? It's not fair to them, and I certainly wouldn't want that to happen to me if someone went on vacation, because I've known too many people over the years who have done that, coworkers and um, colleagues alike in different departments. Don't be that person. That's what I'm trying to say. Like, if you know you're going to be away for a time, do everything you can to set success up for your coworkers. So that was today. That was most of today, was just setting everybody up and making sure that they had everything they needed. So let's just say that after this, definitely earning this time off. I am earning every bit of it. It's going to feel so good once I'm in Rosemont and just be able to be fluffy and not worry about anything. And oh, by the way, I want to mention this year at MFF is the first year of my time being there that I actually got a main hotel room. Wow. Like, that is huge. Shout out to Loopy and Campion for setting me up with this room and being able to spend time with them in their room. And hey, I'm so thankful. Like, they didn't have to do this. They didn't have to reach out and be like, hey, you want to be our fourth? I was all set up in a different room. Like, granted, it was a connected hotel, but still, it was nice. It was so nice just to get that from them, and I could not be more grateful. This is my first time in the main hotel at MFF, and I'm gonna enjoy every minute of it. Believe me. So a lot of you probably know that MFF, the way it's set up is there are skywalks from the different hotels. So from the Hyatt to the Hilton and the DoubleTree, and those skywalks are very hot, and walking through them in fursuit is definitely not ideal. So yeah, actually being able to like just walk downstairs, it's gonna be so nice. Ugh, I am. Yeah, I couldn't be more grateful. I couldn't be more thankful for this whole thing. And wow, man, this is gonna and it's not just the hotel room, but overall, in my opinion, I feel like that this year is going to be the best Midwest FurFest yet. I think this is going to be the best year yet. And as a matter of fact, this is my 4th year in a row going to this con. So I started in 2021, and then all the way up to this year. So yeah, it's the 4th year. Wow, can't believe it's already been 4 years since I started going to this con. It's one of my favorites. I try not to miss it. And I think this year is going to be the best yet. That's just my opinion. So, that's what's going on. I'm ready. I am so ready. So right now, the last thing I have to do is pack. I have all my stuff kind of out, strewn about everywhere as I speak. I'm looking at it right now. It looks like I'm moving again. But when you pack for a convention, try to pack light. But it's really hard for me because I have my fursuit, I have my clothes, I have my outfits for fursuiting. I have, some elements and some gifts to give to people, and yeah, just extra things that I probably don't need to take with me. But, man, I've been trying so hard to pack light for conventions. It's not easy, It's really not that easy. But this year I'm planning on just taking my tote, a bag, and a backpack. That's my goal. Just a tote, a bag, a backpack. That's all I need. And that's the other thing is when you're coming into the convention, how difficult it is to get your stuff inside and outside again. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. Probably the hardest time I've ever had getting my stuff somewhere at a convention was Anthrocon. Because when you walk into the Westin and you try to go up to your room, not only is your room like on the 30th floor, because of course it is, but trying to get your tote and all your stuff in one of those elevators that takes forever, it's a fun time. So you get it, the doors open and you see like a bunch of people and you're like, oh no. And they have totes and it's just, fursuit totes are a pain in the tail when you're trying to get up to your room. So thankfully you only have to do it twice, So yeah. Speaking of which, I should mention, next year, as far as cons are concerned, one of my loose plans right now is to go to the New York Furry Bash, or I'm sorry, New Year's Furry Bash rather, as it's called, NYFB. I'm gonna try and make it that weekend. I'll probably only stay for like a night, and just enjoy the new year out there, and then come back. And then let's see here. I'm going to try and make it to A&E. I'm looking at Texas Furry Fiesta. I'm looking at Motor City FurCon, Anthro Ohio. Let's see what else. Anthrocon, of course, Megaplex. I'll probably skip Wapafa next year. As much as I love that con, it might just be one too many. And then I haven't decided on Midwest FurFest yet, but yeah, there's a few in there I'd like to try out. So I've never been to A&E. I've never been to NYFB before, so I'm going to try and make those cons this year. And make it a priority coming up. And I guess the last thing to talk about is Christmas. Can't believe we're already in December. My gosh, it's snuck up on us, hasn't it? But yeah, I'll be spending time with family. I'll be enjoying some time with some friends and some people visiting. So yeah, that'll be a good time. Just enjoying the holidays with them. And of course, I'll be doing a podcast next week too. But yeah, I can't believe the Christmas season is already here. So here we go. You know, it is what it is. Can't stop what's coming, you know. It's here. So with that, I think I'm going to end it there. I think that was a pretty good haul of things that happened over this past weekend alone, and I am very thankful to still be here. I'm thankful that everything worked out and we're all safe and we're all ready for this con. And yeah, once again, if you see me at MFF, please feel free to come up. I'd love to meet you. So but until I get to see you, I hope you all have a wonderful week. And depending on what you're doing this week, I hope that it's everything that you hope it is. I hope that your goals and your plans work out in your favor. And even if they don't, I hope that something even better comes from them. In the same way, as I always end these podcasts, because I love this slogan, if you want to call it that. I love the saying so much. And it still reigns true even to this day in almost every situation. Sic Parvis Magna. Remember greatness from small beginnings. You came from somewhere, and you're on your way somewhere else. You know, you started from your humble beginnings, and you're here to fulfill a purpose. So where you started is way different than where you are now, and oftentimes we forget, you know, where we came from, or we forget our roots. So let's not ever forget that. Let's not forget the people who brought us up and the people who continue to stand by us to this day. And if you ever feel like your lack of motivation is ruling you, just remember that sometimes if you look back at your roots, or if you look back to where you came from, you might find something there. And in the same way, always be you, be yourself. Don't let anyone ever tell you who you can and can't be, because there is no one there to do that. Only you can do that. Don't let anyone ever tell you what you can and can't do either, because who can really say that to you? There is only one you, and the world needs you as it is. There has never been anyone like you in the past, there will never be anyone like you in the future, and there is no one like you right now. So only you can do the things the way that you can, and because you're here, it makes the world a better place. So until next time, this is Samson Kitty Fox. I'll see some of you in Chicago, and just like every week, I will meet you back here next week. So, I love you all. Thank you all for your continued support and your love. I could not be more grateful. You help me live out my dream every single day. I want to keep saying that and reiterating that no matter how long it takes, to let you know that I would not be here or be who I am if it wasn't for you. So, until we talk next time, I love you all. Have a great night, and I will see you in the next episode. Bye. Bye-bye. Love you.